So now we come to section B, which is the writing section, and it suggests that you spend 45 minutes on this section. So you may want to do this at the very beginning of the exam. Remember, you have 1 hour and 55 minutes unless you have extra time. So you get a choice in paper 2. It says either write an imaginative piece that starts with the line, "I'm so glad they were with me," or 8, write about a time when you or someone you know went on a journey. Your response could be real or imagined. You may wish to base your response on one of the images or use any ideas of your own. Okay, so what I quite like about the writing question is the choice that you get. So you can use your imagination and write, something made up, but you also have the choice of writing about something that was real. Okay. I just want to highlight the fact that where this question is worth 40 marks, it's broken down into 16 marks for your vocabulary, spelling, punctuation and grammar, and then it's 24 marks for your content and your organisation. Okay, so what's really, really vital in your writing is that you firstly paragraph your work, that you punctuate and include capital letters where they need to be. There are some students who don't do these things, and they kind of like will then read through their work and maybe like add them then. But if you can do that as you're writing, that is really going to help you. If you do struggle with paragraphing, just remember it's like when you're writing about a new topic or viewpoint, then introduce a new paragraph, start on a separate line. There is like a lot that we can that you can learn on your creative writing, but just as like a little plan, here's just like a little idea that I have been using with my students in the last couple of years. I'm just going to go to the box here, and it's an acronym which I call SCAFE. Okay, so it's just the key elements that you should include in your story. So if you decide to do imaginative writing, you want to structure your story so that it includes. S is for your setting. So your setting can be anywhere at all. It might be on a train, in a car, on a mountain, at sea, in a cafe, in someone's bedroom. Okay, so you're in charge of your story. You can decide where it's going to be set. So it's something that you can be kind of like working on and revising. Just like get some ideas of your setting. And C is for your character or characters. Okay. So you want to have like a little description of a character. Don't do too many, and try to focus on thoughts and feelings. Also, bear in mind with the writing, it's good to show some good language features so you can introduce them in your setting and in your characters. Also, something else to consider in your setting is, what time of day is it going to be? Is it going to be nighttime, daytime? What's the weather like? Because that can set the tone. You might want to set it on a, dark, stormy night or on a bright, sunny day. Okay. A is for action. Okay, so it can be a small thing. It might be that your character wakes up really late and they're going to miss a really important meeting, or it might be that they're on a boat trip and the boat starts sinking, or it might be that they bump into somebody that they really had forgotten about, or something like that. It can be absolutely anything at all. F is for flashback. Okay, so it can also you can also use flash forward. You might, want to move forward in time, go forward to the next day. But flashback is quite a good structural technique that you can use in your writing. You could flash back to a different time when maybe when the character was like in a calmer situation, and everything was all good before, whatever the action was that happened. Um, and then E is simply for your ending. Okay, how are you going to end your story? Um, Stephen King, the famous novelist, he always says, if you know what your ending is, everything else will follow. So try to kind of like have an idea of your ending. So, it might be cliffhanger, it might be a twist, might be cyclical, might be all resolved. Okay. I would say don't use the cliche of, they woke up and it was all a dream. Okay, that's a big no-no. Um, so other things to bear in mind when you're doing your writing is, I think students tend to write quite long sentences, big chunky paragraphs. Don't be afraid to use a one-word sentence, or put a sentence on its own, make it a one sentence paragraph for impact. You could do that at the end. Okay, this is something that you can kind of like be working on and revising, because whatever the question 7 opening line is, or whatever question 8 is, um, hopefully if you've got like a little idea of a scenario and you've got an idea of a setting and characters, you can kind of like adjust your story, modify it to fit in with the opening line that they give you. Also, question 7, the opening line tends to be in first person, but you can change it into third person. So if you do have a story in mind and you've named your character, you can actually change it so you put your character in there. Okay.